the unit, 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 the unit.
You are very welcome back to the Unit Podcast, Episode 10. We're back down with the Jack Off Houses DJ. Like, on Nubby Walls. The big bow wow wow. Some from all the ladies. For all the ladies from all the guys. Yeah, I'm acting the bollocks already. Episode 10, double digits, can you believe that? It's technically episode 11 because I already put out a bonus episode, which could have technically been episode something, 6 or 7 or something like that. 6, 7. But yeah, here we are, episode 10. 10 fucking weeks of this shit. Can you believe it? I never do anything for 10 weeks, lads. Genuine. I got to work, like, obviously, do you know, but I've done that for more than 10 weeks. But, like, something like this, I'm not able to stay consistent with things like, and look at me go, look at me go, look at me checking, am I recording? Am I recording? We're live. We're not live, but like, you know, kind of like, happy International Women's Day to all the ladies out there. Happy International Women's Day. How are you keeping? Hope you're getting treated nice, and I hope you're putting the feet up, not too high up, because like, I don't want you to fall off the couch or anything like that, but put them up at a level that is comfortable for you and leave them there for the day. Now, I know this episode's coming out at 5 o'clock and some of your, like a good bit of your day is gone already, but for the rest of the day, just like the minute it hits 5 o'clock, just turn around to your fella or your missus or whoever you might be in a relationship and turn around to them and say, listen to me now, come here and I tell you, I'm putting my feet up. I'm after having a hard day. I haven't sat down since May. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, enjoy it. Happy International Women's Day. I have to say it again. So fucking all the women who independent, throw your hands up at me. Yeah, that was for you. This one goes out to all the girls. Alright? So all the women who independent, throw your hands clean up in the air. Fucking, what's the one again? Put your pinky rings up to the moon. What y'all trying to do? So that's for you as well. Even though that song isn't specifically about women, it is today. So all the women out there, put your pinky rings up to the moon. What y'all trying to do? All the girls in the block looking at my door. You don't want for me. Is that enough singing? Or should I do more singing? But I was just about to say again, but I'm after saying it too many times on the episode, and I don't want to like make this an International Women's Day heavy episode, just in case fellas won't listen to it, and then half of my, or well, 75% of my listeners won't be listening, and I'll be sobbing. And I'm not making judgments, or I'm not judgments, I'm not making assumptions that it's 75% men, but it actually is, because I checked the stats of the episodes. So there we go. Anyway, that needed to be said, and now it has been said. I appreciate you, all 25% of you. I appreciate the back axle off you. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Imagine if I just ended it there, but I'm not going to do that. What did I want to say? I still need to put Peter Griffin on my soundboard, and I need to start using my soundboard. Actually, I'm going to open it up now, and I'm going to see. I'm going to see what the fuck is it called again? Oh yeah, there it is. I'm going to open it up, and then if the opportunity arises, I'm going to use some of the sounds off it, because why not? You know, I have the technology, so why don't I start using it? Because I remember a while back I did like he reckons the injectors is gone nut. And like, why don't I do things like that? So I don't know. Yeah. I'm here now trying to do fucking, I'm here trying to open up my thing, and you're sitting there going, did that work? I think it did. I don't have my headphones on, so I can't even hear the soundboard, but I'm just going to guess. How about that? So, can we address the elephant in the room? there's no elephant in this room, right? But do you know Air Max 95s, or as they call them over in England, 110s? They're not comfortable. Why do people like? I have a pair of Air Max 95s there, right? And when I got them first, I was wearing them and I was thinking, oh yeah, they're grand, they're nice. Like I love the look of them. No, don't get me wrong. And I was thinking like, surely they just need to be broke in a bit, like because they were just a bit uncomfortable, a bit blocky kind of feeling. Now the ones I got aren't really fabricy. They're the different material. Now I don't know if the fabricy and breathable ones are better, but the ones I have anyway are stone divine uncomfortable. So yeah, I just said I'd say that because everyone thinks they're pure comfortable. Probably. I've asked a couple of people and they were like, no, I find them comfortable. What? How? Like, I don't find them comfortable at all. And I thought like, oh, they need to be broken in and stuff like that. And then I have them now for fucking a long time, like, and they're still not comfortable. So I've come to the conclusion that they're just not comfortable. How about that? How do you like them apples? Do you know? How do you like them apples? I meant to tell you. Did I tell you this? Sometimes I say things and I think, did I tell you this already? But I think you like that about this podcast, that it's not polished and it's not it's just not like a set layout. It can kind of go any direction. I have a good story for you, but I'm not going to start off with the good story. I'm going to wean you into it just in case you listen to the good story and then turn it off. But I'm not. I'm going to talk a bit of nonsense for a while first and just things what annoy me and things what I think. And then you have to wait for the good story. Do you get me? So, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had a haircut booked for whatever time, the evening time, right? Or late afternoon or the evening. And I came home from work and I took off my work pants and I just threw on a tracksuit pants that I wear going around the house, right? And I was there then and I thought, oh yeah, it's nearly coming to the time for my haircut, I better go. So I looked at myself in the mirror. I just happened to glance at myself in the mirror and I thought, fucking hell, big scruffy head on me. And then I looked down and I was like, oh, and now I'm not wearing my work pants anymore. So, like, if someone sees you in a pair of Snickers pants and you look scruffy, they're like, ah, yeah, he was at work or whatever. I was going for a haircut and I was after just firing on a tracksuit pants that I kind of only wear going around the house. And then I had on whatever hoodie or jumper that I had on at work, which is just one that I wear for work. And I thought, fuck it, to stay at me now, going out in public, whatever. So do you know what I did? And it's a brilliant idea. I don't know how I thought of it. I just threw on my high vis. I picked up a high vis and just threw it on me. And then when you go out in public, people are like, oh yeah, he's only scruffy because he was at work. You know? So I didn't go to the effort of putting back on my Snickers pants. I was just like, nah, do you know what? I'll just throw on my high vis. And then nobody probably maybe even better than I did. Do you know what I mean? I even went into the barbers and the boys were like, well, man. I'm thinking like, oh yeah. And I'm thinking, they don't know that I'm finished work hours and I just fired on this high vis so that I could justify my scruffiness, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm saying no. I was at a urinal, right? I'm going to hold a cup of tea in my hand now because I was going stone fine. I was at a urinal. I think it was in the Barack Obama Plaza, right? And there's 3 or 4 urinals there, right? For all the ladies that are listening out there, the things what we piss in the men's bathrooms, right? The little bowl yuck. So, you obviously know that, I'm only joking. But you might not know that. Next to each one, there's a little divider thing, right? To shield you from the person next to you. But that must only be so that people can't piss on each other by accident, because it doesn't grant you any privacy. And I don't know how the world came to the conclusion that men are just comfortable to just do all that type of stuff in front of other men. Like, I don't know, everyone's just going in pissing right next to each other. It's a bit odd, like, isn't it? Because it's a bit of a private thing. And, like, yeah, so it has, like, a thing that's about 2 foot tall, and it's, like, down at kind of hip height. And that's all they have to cover you. So you can literally be standing there and there's just someone just there next to you. Why don't they put the... And like, it doesn't block the view. You can't hide behind it to make your piss. You have to just stand there, and then the person is here. And if they just go look down, they're just in your privacy. Do you know what I mean? And I was thinking, like, why don't they just move that divider yoke up so that it's next to your head? So they'd be like a horse. No, what do they call it? Are they called winkers or blinkers? I always call them winkers because that's what I heard them being called in the hood. So I always call them winkers. And what they are, do you know, well, what I'm on about is, do you know the leather things that go next to a horse's eyes so they're not distracted by anything when they're going down the road or whatever, and they're just focusing straight ahead because the view right and left is blocked off so they don't get distracted by what's going on around them. So if they move the yoke up and put it next to your head, then it'd be like a set of winkers or blinkers, whatever you want to call them, and then you have your privacy. And even if everything else isn't covered up, at least the person can't just look, or you don't look, and you're pure stone divine private then, like, you know what I mean? Is that not a good idea? Get on to Barack Obama there and tell him I said, just say, hi, Barack. All she said, move the yoke up higher. I know it's not his place, like, it's just named after him, like, but still, just let him know anyway. Just tell him I said it. And he'd be like, who's that fucking idiot? And you'll be like, him there, and you show a picture, and he'd be like, no, I still don't know. He'd be like, yeah, move the yoke up anyway, right? Barack. Hold you. Do you ever see the picture of him when you walk into the Barack Obama Plaza? There's a picture of him and Michelle after getting off a helicopter, and they're walking along, like, getting away from the helicopter, and he's doing a pure kind of crunched up face, you know, like the sun face. And I'm thinking, like, who chose that picture? Who thought that'd be a big picture? A big picture. Who thought that'd be a good picture to use as the face of the Barack Obama Plaza? The second you walk in the door and you look to the right hand side, there's the picture of him doing a big face. And you're like, man, get a nice picture of him, like, do you know what I mean? Get a picture of him sitting in the Oval Office, chilling, with his feet up on the desk or something, texting, playing Snake, playing Tetris or something, you know what I mean? I was listening to another podcast, right? And it's two brothers that are on it. They were just chatting away about films. One fella is a writer, and the other fella, like a movie script writer or whatever, and the other fella has been in films and stuff like that, you know? So they talk about this stuff kind of frequently. And one of them said that they're not good at concentrating when they're watching films, right? And I'm like that too. Very, very bad. I have to literally put my phone in another room. I think I might have mentioned that in the last episode. But, and not because, like, I feel like I have to go on my phone, but because I can't give the film my full attention, so I just get distracted by everything around me. Like, I'd even be there, like, oh, I'll just pause it there and go and make a cup of tea. Why? Like, you know, and I don't even want it. It's just to be doing something other than giving the TV my whole attention. Do you know what I mean? And they said that this film, The Rip, did you ever see that? It's just, I don't even know who's in it. I can't remember. There's actors in it anyway, right? Obviously, but there's these. So I'm not going to spoil it or anything like that. This is literally in the first, I don't know, 10 minutes of the film or something like that. And there is a woman in the car, and these fellas come up behind her. She just parks her car, and these fellas come up behind her with guns. And I think she sees them in the rear view mirror or something like that, or she's looking at her phone and she hears gunshots and the windows breaking her car or something like that anyway, right? So she, I don't know, is she like a secret agent or what is she, or a cop or something, I don't know, or an ex-cop. Could be any of the above because I didn't end up watching the full film, right? Because I got distracted and then ended up falling asleep. It was actually one of the times I fell asleep on the couch recently, what I was telling you about. I think it was the time that the insurance company rang me. Now, there's a bit of inside information, a little bit of a callback to the old episode, right? So the boys came along with the guns anyway and started shooting. And she's there with her phone, but she was on the phone in the car. So when she jumps out of the phone, she has the phone in her hand and she's ducked down in front of her car trying to send an important text message. I think it's like to inform people I'm being shot at, or to give them some information that they might need in case she dies or something like that anyway. So she had to send this important message while the lads were shooting at her. So they're thinking, all right, she has to get that message sent because obviously she's not going like, yeah, we'll have mash and chicken Marylands and peas and gravy. You know, I don't think she was texting about her what they were going to have for dinner or what she wanted, telling her husband what he wanted, what she was making for dinner or what he was to make her for dinner. I don't think it was anything like that. I'm assuming it was something more important than that, right? So the boys come along anyway with the guns and she's in front of the car and I think one of them ends up hitting her like with a bullet. So it drives her forward a bit, right? But then there's this like a kind of a slopey thing to go down to water. I don't know, is it a river or a lake or what is it, right? But that's she parked in front of that water and when she got shot, she was over at the top of this little hill that brings you down. Now it's only a small hill, probably only 6 or 8 foot drop or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's not a sudden drop; it's a hill that goes down to it. And she's there, and she has the phone, and she's texting, right? And then she gets shot in the shoulder, I think it is, and gets flipped down this hill, and doesn't reach the water. Like, you know, she gets flipped and goes down a bit down the hill now after getting shot in the shoulder, right? And then she still has the phone in her hand. Can you believe that? I was looking, I was thinking, who is getting shot in the shoulder and holding on to their phone? And then she proceeds to finish her text message. Obviously, it was important information that she needed to pass on because she knew she was going to die or whatever. Finishes her text message and then fucks her phone into the water. So obviously they can't get the phone or whatever. But she literally just pressed send. Imagine if there was a little bit of a delay in the signal or something like that and her message just didn't go through. Why did you, like, for her to be able to hold onto the phone while she gets shot in the shoulder and flipped down this fucking stony hill or hard mud hill or whatever, and then she still has the phone in her hand and she's still able to finish the message, and then she just flings it straight away the second she presses send. And like, I know she didn't have much time or whatever, but probably not going to fucking get to its destination. And fair play to her for being able to hold on to the fucking phone, like, because, yeah. Anyway, I just thought it was pure unrealistic. And then about a week later, I was listening to that podcast I was telling you about, and the lads were like, oh, yeah, that film, The Rip. And I was like, oh, what are they going to say about it? And they were like, that movie was made for people who find it hard to follow movies. Like, I couldn't follow it anyway. Like, and I find it hard to follow things. And when I was watching it, I was just getting fucking distracted and not knowing what was going on. But then again, I was kind of falling asleep. I'm probably looking at my phone too, so I don't know. But I feel like I'm taking a sup of tea and then changing the subject every time. But I went into a shoe shop. Oh, not a shoe shop. I went into a shop the other day to buy a pair of tackies, right? And I asked the young fella, I said, have you got that in a size 10? And it made me think because he came back then and he was like, no, we don't have it in a 10. We have it in 9. And then I was like, they always do that, you know. When you ask somebody for a size, they'll always come back and go, oh no, we haven't got a 10. We have a 7.5. Like, okay, what good is that information to me? Like, and I wonder, is there something behind it? Like, do they, when you're in that job, like, do they say to you, like, oh, if you don't have the size, come out and tell them what size you do have? Like, why not just say, no, we don't? And I'm not slagging, like, I'm just literally, I just don't understand it, like, and it can't be just that, it was this one young fella because people do that all the time. And I never thought about it before, how ridiculous it is for them to go, oh, we don't have your size, but we have a different size if you're interested. I'm like, all right, I'll get it from my fucking neighbour or something like that. It's no good to me, like. Um, yeah, do you ever notice that? And do you ever find it mad? And if you didn't, then you're going to find it mad and notice it the next time. Because, yeah, I just don't think it makes any sense. No. I think I managed that cup of tea. I think I managed that cup of tea, okay. Don't think I did any mad movements or anything. I've a little table down next to my table. My arms are folded. No, lads, getting serious. But what about all this World War Three shit? I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what's going on, and I don't want to know what's going on. Does that make any sense? Not because I don't care, and obviously it shouldn't be happening. It's horrible what's happening around the world. Um, but I just don't want to start getting paranoid about it. Like, and I know that there's nothing I can do, so I'd rather just try not to take notice of it, so that I won't be fucking thinking about it. And then if the worst was to happen, sure, we probably wouldn't even fucking realize, like, you know, and it would just happen. And yeah, I don't know, but it's fucking kind of scary looking, going like, oh, this place has been hit and that's been hit, and this person threatened that, and Trump said this, and then fucking the lads said this and that, and yeah, I don't know, it's mad. I just things keep popping up in my algorithm, and I'm not liking them and I'm not commenting on them, but I suppose they're just kind of everywhere, aren't they? They're just kind of everywhere. But yeah, and it's driving the price of diesel up then as well. And yeah, I've seen some places like, and diesel is nearly €2, and then petrol is still like 10 or 15 cents cheaper than it, which was never the case. Diesel used to be always cheaper, but then I suppose lately it's kind of similar enough price, isn't it? But I remember years ago, like diesel was always way cheaper than petrol was. Um, haven't had a petrol car now in a long time, so and as I said before, like I don't shop around for best diesel prices, but I just remember recently that I saw a diesel somewhere and it was 17.38. So obviously when I saw that, I thought, yeah, baby. Um, that's a niche reference now for some of you. Um, but now the fact that it's nearly at €2, then I'm kind of like, okay, it was 17.38, yeah, baby, and now it's €2. So that is a significant jump in price. Do you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, it'll make you think. Like, I wonder what way electric cars are going to go over the next couple of years. Like, are diesel and petrol prices going to go so high that people are going to be like me myself? I don't think I'd ever like an electric car, but it's the way the world is going, and probably at some stage I'm going to have to end up getting one or whatever. And I wonder, is it going to, like, these price increases and stuff like that, is it going to convert the likes of me and you, the person who actually likes driving the way that we've been driving and doesn't want to change to electric? um I wonder, is it going to convert us and change our minds? Because I feel like it could happen. We'll all be just cruising around with fucking Teslas, and I don't know, like, are Teslas mad expensive or what? Because they seem to be common enough around the place. um like, are they competitive in the market? Like, or like, would there be a similar price to a fucking an Aventus or a Corolla or something like that, or are they like fucking Range Rover money, or what's the story? I don't know. Like, I never looked into it. Do you ever see the fucking screens on them yokes? They're fucking big flat screen, and like, I'm pretty sure you can watch telly and everything on them. Like, just cruising around watching fucking Third Rock from the Sun or something, just in traffic on William Street. You know what I mean? Mad. That's probably the way that we'll all end up. I don't know, but weird to it's weird to think of. Like, it is weird to think of. Do you know what I random now again? Do you know what I used for the first time? I think it was a week or two ago. Rennies. Rennies are unbelievable if you have fucking heartburn, or is it indigestion or heartburn? I don't know. What's the difference? Do you know, like, acidy, gassy kind of feeling in your throat? Um, and I always knew that what Rennies were for. But like, no, if someone offered to me, I'm like, I'm not pregnant. I don't want them. But then I use them and they're fucking unbelievable. It just takes it away. I know that's what they're for, but they worked, like. And it's just one of those things that I was just like, oh yeah, no, I'll just deal with this and suffer in silence, you know. It's actually fucking class, like, they're unreal. And I never knew. Why didn't you tell me? Why does You should text now, your friend or whatever, right? You should send your friend a message and just say, Rennies are good. And they'll be like, what do you mean? Like, Rennies are good. And they'll be like, for what? Like, I don't know, indigestion or heartburn or whatever. Or do they do the both of them? I don't know. Why? Another thing. Why can't you tap your card on the bus? Now, I didn't bother Googling this or looking it up, which is the same thing. But I didn't ask Google or ChatGPT or anyone. Um, isn't it so fucking weird that you can't just tap your card on the bus? Remember a couple of years ago, I went to get on the bus, like, and I took out my card or my phone, the thing, whatever. My mum's like, can't do that. I was like, what? Because obviously I don't get the bus often, like, and like, you can get a leap card and stuff and tap it up, but like, what's stopping them from having a little pay point joke where you scan it and just pay for the bus? And I was thinking, like, because they're small amounts and stuff like that. Would it be worth a while or whatever? But sure, that doesn't stop Arthur's Key letting you fucking tap your card for 50 cent every time you want to go in there, and everybody who taps their card is tapping it for 50 cent. So why can't the buses do that? Is there a logical reason for it? Do people actually know that, or are people just like, oh yeah, the bus doesn't take card and that's just it, and don't look any further into it? Further into it. What is that? That's not a word. But is that what the story is like, or what is going on? Because it's something that always kind of baffled me over the last couple of years, and I just never thought of asking. But you might know. You might know. But sorry, just having a sup of Coke Knot. And my mouth gets bone divine from talking for too long. I was actually sending voice notes the other day, and I could feel my jaws and everything were killing me from sending voice notes because they were just moving so much. I'm like, man, is that even fucking normal? Like, even my jaws need exercise, like, and I don't fucking shut up, like. But when I was saying it to you about buying the tackies or asking for the size of the tackies, like, I could probably go online and find what I need, but am I the only one? Actually, do you know what? I should have put a fucking poll up on Instagram. What I might do is I'll put it up now. And I'll try get the responses. Why did somebody mention me in their story? God, what's that now? I'm going to try get the responses of people because I don't know, is it just me or is it just like weird to not weird, but it's just more inconvenient to order online and have to wait and everything rather than going in person. I cannot stand ordering online and just having to wait for something. So, like, even if I had to go to Cork to collect a pair of tackies or a tracksuit or whatever I wanted to buy, a Hoover now was my next thing. Actually, I put up a status a while ago asking what Hoover to buy, and someone told me that there is a Karcher one out in Woodies, gone down to 60 quid, a wet and dry vac, and it's meant to be unreal. And I think that's in the lead now with my options. Someone was saying, is it Miele or something like that, that brand? But they're like fucking 150 quid upwards, the ones that I saw anyway. I'm going to try to put up this poll now. Where is it? Poll. Do you prefer ordering clothes? Oh, that's cool. Clothes, or I'm just going to say shoes now because I'm not going to put tackies because people are like, what's tackies? And they're not going to answer the fucking question. Shoes online or getting. I can't write that long. Do you prefer ordering clothes or shoes online? Do you prefer ordering? Yeah, I'm just going to put that up and see. Okay, I'm not going to fucking. I don't know. My podcast logo in is backwards on the fucking screen and it's going to cover it up. Fuck that. Do you prefer ordering clothes or shoes online? Yeah. No. Will I even post it? I won't bother. Fuck that. Because I need to try and word it better. That was stupid. No, why did you let me do that? Why did nobody stop me? I was just about to post that to my story, and would have made a fool out of myself, and you nearly let me do it. Fuck's sake! Sick and tired of fake people. Do you know that? Rats and snakes in this town. But someone asked me the other day, as a topic, what are the best 3 delis in Limerick? Because, as you know, I'm a pure fucking deli merchant, and I'm sick to death of it. But the top 3 delis, and the one, like only one came to my mind, right? Bit of free advertising now here from, so they must give me an old googe on if they ever see me again, which they probably will because I'm mad for a rollout or now because I'm mentioning it. But Barry's shop in Ardnacrusha, their chicken fillet rolls, my god, and just a basic, like, they do, so they don't actually do fillets. I don't think they do goujons, but they're so soft and fresh and constantly flowing as well, because it's a busy shop, so they're always putting on fresh ones and stuff like that. And their rolls are always soft, probably because the same thing, like Guinness, because the rolls are flowing and the chicken is flowing, so it's always fresh. So the pipes are fresh and cleaned out like Guinness pipes. Isn't that what happens with Guinness? People get it because it's constantly flowing in a place. Now, look how low down I am on the screen now. Oh, I don't know. That's probably grand. But Barry Shop is up there with one of the best delis in Limerick, simply because of their chicken fillet rolls. Like, okay, I'll say for chicken fillet rolls, so to keep it fair, because I don't want to, like, I'm not that adventurous at delis. I get kind of a basic thing, so we won't say the deli is the best, just in case, but we will say their chicken fillet rolls are one of the best in Limerick. Even though they're not fillets, they're goujons. But I'll have to try and compile an actual poll of the best ones or whatever the fuck. Okay, so I had a few comments. So what I'm doing is I need to figure out how to separate all of the questions and things that I'm getting from people and put them in a certain folder or something like that where I can go find them easily. But I've seen comments coming in on Spotify and stuff like that, and I deliberately didn't read them so that I could read them out and talk about them on the podcast. So I have 11 comments. Okay, so the smelly pole. Ed said, would it not be kilometre stone, as we don't use miles in Ireland anymore? Because I said last week that I hit a milestone of 10,000 streams or whatever the fuck. And he said, would it not be kilometre stone? Yep, that's probably a good idea. Didn't mean to fly off the handle. Tackies. I'm from Galway, an hour up the road. I met my partner from Limerick at age 34 and had never heard that word before. That is mad. Couldn't understand. I need glasses, so I'm going to put them on. Sounds like I'm saying I just need glasses in general, doesn't it? But what I meant is I need my glasses. I'm going to use them. But I'm going couldn't understand him on a phone call for definitely a year, and now even 6 years down the road, it's hard to understand. But I love it all the same. Yup, Limerick City. That is from Michelle. So she was 34 and never heard the word tackies before. That is mad. Oh, thought someone asked me a question. Or maybe it was on YouTube. I must go into YouTube and ask there. Or not ask, but check there. And see, is there a question on that? Do you like coming along on these journeys with me, or like, should I have this stuff kind of prepared? But you see, it's very hard for me because I don't have a producer, obviously, like, because I'm only starting out. I'm hardly going to have a fucking producer. But what people don't normally do on podcasts is like get other people to filter their submissions and stuff like that, whereas I don't have the pleasure of that because it's just me on my own. For Hair Machine C Clippers of the latest Peppa Pig video, decent. Hair Machine Clippers. Yeah, so Stephen Nealon said that he'd call a hair machine a clippers. Um, I've heard that before, but I just can't get used to it. One of the what? My sister said one of the Teletubby actors was in porn while he was on CBeebies. Lads. No, I think it was a fella. Um, okay. So I was asking about icks as well. I said that I didn't want to ask about icks because I felt like it was a bit of a cliche kind of a thing. But she said those fellas who hock up and lugger and spit everywhere are absolutely vile. It's not even an ick; it makes me vomit. Yeah, I understand. Oh, one second now. So she said, so this is a story about my dad because I remember I was saying on my last episode that I didn't have many memories and stuff like that. So she's after saying this. I didn't even realize that this was here. She said, I remember when Dad was after finishing up for the day with the horse and cart, and he was bringing Snuffy to the field for the evening, and he was letting me sit on her going over, and you demanded to get on too. Or yeah. So because you were a bit smaller than me, he left you in front of me, and she was on full. So she was very rounded, and I slid sideways, and I was clinging upside down. Yeah, but did I not go? I think I went out over the handlebars of the horse that day. I think I fell off, and that was the last time that I ever got up on a horse as a child. Like I tried it again when I was a little bit grown up, but I think that scared me off. I'm fully sure the horse put her head down, and I went out over the handlebars and bounced off the ground. I think maybe. Uh, oh, there's someone just giving an old comment for the sake of putting a comment there, and someone said, "Here is a comment." That's very good. Who was that? Dermot. Every time. Uh, Annie says every time you mention about your tea gone cold, all I can think of is the Dido song. Get yourself an insulated cup. Tea stays warm for hours. Yeah, see, here's my problem with insulated cups. The tea stays too hot and you can't enjoy it. Like, I drink my tea very hot because I put in barely any milk, right? But I find if you have like an insulated mug or a thermos or whatever the fuck, I've my leg now up on the desk and you can't even see it. That's class. Um, I find that it's too hot and it'll roast the back axle off you when you're trying to drink it, so I don't like that. But good idea, obviously. Um, I do not. The particular light is caution. Okay, so Jar says he's after doing timestamps and everything. How the fuck do you do that, Jar? So he's after replying to certain parts of my episode with a timestamp to tell me what part he's replying to. I didn't even know you could do that. Um, and it doesn't look like he's after typing it. It looks like he's after replying in a certain way that it highlights the time. They do not. That particular light is a proceed with caution light for the traffic coming within the junction and on the other side of the road. If you look up at the pedestrians' lights, the red man is up. They can't legally cross until you get a red light. Yeah, Jar, but what I was on about was, oh wait, no, sure, I probably mentioned something about that now in fucking. I probably did mention something about this part, but I was talking about. Yeah. So now he said about the part where I said people in car parks and stuff, like if you were in the Crescent or something like that, and there was a crossy roady thing, but it didn't have lights. I was thinking that you don't have to actually stop. But he said, I'm correct on that. However, if a walking person is already on the crossing, you have to stop. Yeah, I understand that. But my problem is people who are walking towards it and look at you as if to say, you have to stop. And they won't even be polite about it and they won't even give you a salute. They're just, they feel like that they have the right to cross without making sure that you're stopping or anything like that. Whereas it's kind of your choice, I think, if you stop or not. I might be wrong on that, but and he said free meteor to meteor was some job. Yeah, it definitely was. Someone else said, okay, few questions to throw out for next week. Favorite Limerick shop that's not there anymore. This is from Brian's action figure reviews. I think I have him on TikTok as well. Favorite shop that's not there anymore. Favorite shop that's not there anymore. Let me think. Oh fuck! I definitely should have read this one. Look, leave that with me, and I'll try to get back to it in a minute. If not, maybe next week or something. I don't know. Favorite chipper or takeaway in Limerick? Paz is definitely one of my favorites. I had it again last night. An unbelievable Paz chipper and Tomaget. I got the sandwich box. You probably saw it on my Snapchat story. It will be still there when this episode is out. So if you're fast enough, you'll be able to see it on my Snapchat story. I got a club sandwich box. So it's basically two sandwiches cut up into triangles and a load of chips. And then I got prawn sauce and cheese on top of the chips. Now, when you hear prawn sauce, you'll think like, oh, prawns, fish. No, it doesn't taste fishy at all. It's like burger sauce's cousin. That's what prawn sauce is like. That's the only way I can describe it. Um, Prawn sauce is kind of like burger sauce's distant relative, and it's fucking unbelievable. Talk about the car scene in Limerick now. Loving the podcast, liked and subscribe, watch every episode. Thanks very much, Brian. Really appreciate it. The car scene in Limerick. I feel like we don't have one, to be honest. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I'm just not really in that world at the moment. So even when I see like a modified car passing or something like that, like I don't know, like are they just people that are here for college or what is going on, or you never see like I never see actual meets or cruises or anything like that happening anymore. I feel like that kind of died out. Um, like I love cars and coffee now, don't get me wrong, on the last Sunday of the month over in East Bay Business Park. And what I like about that, as Jar would know, the fellow who was camping a few minutes ago, is I like to go there and just walk around. Even if I go there on my own, I'll stroll around and I look at the cars and I'll appreciate the cars, and the work that went into them and stuff like that, and the minding of them and things, whatever. But the reason that I like to go there is because it's a very good time to connect with people who you might not have seen in ages, or even people that you might not have ever spoken to much before, but you're all there and you're all walking around, you're having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or something like that, and it's a Sunday, it's relaxing, and I just love that side of it, just the mingling kind of social aspect of it, you know what I mean? Um, that's what I get from the only part of the car scene that I really have any involvement with. And the only reason I have involvement is because I go and look at the cars. Do you know what I mean? That's about it. But yeah, thanks very much, Brian. Good submission. Put your tea in a flask, it'd be lovely and warm. Yeah, Andrew. I know, I understand what you're saying, but look, as I said, it'll fucking burn the tongue off me. Frank says, I leave the pizzas in the box in the freezer because when I eventually eat it, I'll use the box as a plate to save washing an actual plate. Wow. Yeah, I never thought of that now, but I suppose like when you eat a takeaway pizza, you're eating it off the box as well, so it's not a million miles away from that, I suppose. And then the box will have like fucking 15 minutes or something to defrost while your pizza's in the oven. So yeah, it's not going to be stone and cold. It's actually a good idea. Um, Jamie, dog walker, shit talker says, water and electrolyte will have you feeling all right. He loves no poem, that fella. Um, Jonathan says, did you ever do jury duty? If not, how did you get out of it? As Homer Simpson said, there's a trick to say your prejudice against all races. I don't think I'd chance that now, but no, fingers crossed. I have never been, fingers crossed, not cross. I've never been called for it, and I hope that I'm never called for it. So fingers crossed. How do they actually? How did it actually get you for that? Like, where do you have to be registered? Does it go by your vote? When you vote, does that put you in the running for jury duty, or is it the census form, which I was going to call a sinus form, but it's not a sinus form because that's an old Toyota, or what is it, or how do they get you for it? Um, would you prefer potatoes or spuds, Ed? Yeah, I would. Um, so Declan says, uh, question here for you: explain or tell stories about what South Hill was like years ago versus now. good or bad or whatever, funny stories, dodgy stories, etc. I remember looking through Google Maps one day, looking at years back in South Hill, and the amount of houses that were knocked down and gone is actually unbelievable to see from someone that's not from Limerick. Oh, and by the way, you should do that. Check if a couple of places you look back years ago, you'll see some mad shit. Maybe even still shots of old cars you used to own, etc. Really cool. Thanks for keeping the podcast going. Thanks very much, Declan. Good question. I have done that. I've looked at my old cars on Google Maps. I've went around to old houses and apartments that I used to live in and check what cars were parked outside and be like, oh, there's my car. Or there might be other times when they were taken while I wasn't living there or whatever. I actually found an old car that I bought. So I bought a car. Where the fuck did I buy it? Do you ever go to buy a car, right? And you see it advertised and you'll be like, oh, that's the car from, we'll just say, the North Circular Road. And then you ask the person, oh, where's the house? And they'll say, oh, it's Doradile or whatever. And then you're like, oh, yeah. And then you go out and look at it and you're like, yeah, that is the car from the North Circular Road. I knew it was from over there. But it would have moved on. They could have sold it or whatever, or the person could have moved. And then you end up buying the car. But I did that. There was a car that was out in Cardiff, a Corolla, 98 Corolla. And I remember seeing the car the whole time. It was distinctive for some reason. I can't remember. Oh, it was the spoiler, I think, that it was distinctive. It had a nice little spoiler on the back of it. And I liked it because of that or something like that. It was a nice colour as well. And I was like, that's the car out in Cardiff. But then I ended up buying it somewhere. And I remember I was like kind of spotting the car for a couple of years. Do you know, any time I'd ever be passing that way, I'd be like, oh, yeah, there's that Corolla and whatever. And then I ended up buying it from a completely different place, which was mad. And I went back to the house in Cardiff on Google Maps and that car was parked outside. So I actually went back to check and confirm if it was the right car, and it was. But yeah, and so in South Hill, the block of houses that I grew up on is completely gone. The block of houses behind that, where my sister actually lived, that block is gone. The block up from me has one house left, I think, and the block behind that has probably, I don't know, does it have none? Maybe there's one left there too. And then up from that is just completely all gone. So on my side of South Hill, there used to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, yeah, 5. I don't know. There was probably about fucking 15 blocks of houses, we'll just say. No, probably 10 blocks of houses on my side. And they're all gone. Everything. There's about 2 houses left on that side. And they actually started rebuilding those new houses, like the 3-story houses and stuff like that. So when you drive into South Hill down by the Galvon and come in that way, when the Galvon is also gone, and they started building all the houses down there. If you pass them out and go past the church and look to your right hand side when you're going around the bend, that's actually where I grew up, and that is just fully a field now. I actually have a picture. If you remind me, maybe put it in the comments if you want to see it, because I'm not going to have time to edit it into this week's episode, but I can put up a picture of the house that I grew up in about 2 hours after we moved out, and the house is just up in flames. Like we moved out. Oh no, sorry, I was gone at this point, but my mother and whoever else was left in the house at that time moved out of there, and then the house just went up in flames. Obviously it wasn't an accident, but it was the last house on the block. There was already there was 3 houses that were joined to our house that were already boarded up, so we were the last to go. And when we moved out of there, then the influence just went in and burnt it to a crisp. And there's actually a picture of it on Google with flames just shooting out of the roof, like. So that's so that's no there's no mystery there. Like, I know what happened, and I know that the houses aren't there anymore. Timmy says, congratulations on the milestone of the streams. I love a Sunday night because of this. I think a good question to ask people, what's your first car you got? And you should get a few good replies on that. Yeah, I think I might I think I might put that up as an Instagram question as opposed to putting it in the podcast, because I don't think it would get as many replies in the podcast. I think it'd be a better Instagram story, so I might do that. My first car was a 1990 Toyota Starlet 5-door, 90L474. It was. I bought a brand new set of 14-inch alloys. They were that brand, Dezent, however you say that, but I just thought it looked like decent. Um, Champion Tires had ordered the alloys in for someone for a Fiesta, but the Fiesta fitment is, what are they, 4x108 or something like that, and Toyotas are 4x100 from that generation. And I went in there with someone. They were getting tires, I can't remember, and your man had these alloys just sitting there. I was like, oh, they're nice, no, whatever. And he was like, yeah, I ordered them in for a customer, and they're the wrong fitment for the car, so they're for sale. And he actually let me pay him off weekly for them, and they ended up being like €50 more than I paid for the actual car. So yeah, 1 second now. Okay, that was a comment from me. I said, one bag podcast, lads. Why did I record it with the microphone back my throat? Oh, someone replied to it. Sarah said it was good. Thanks, Sarah. 1 minute now. Great episode. The smelly pole is priceless. Talking about kicking indoors. I must show you my bedroom door. Jerry, you never showed me your bedroom door. That's Mungo Jerry off TikTok. So yeah, that's all my correspondence. Oh, you bastard. I have to lashing the microphone out of it, sorry. It's warm enough in here, boys. So, yeah. When we at now? We've got 51 minutes. Fucking hell. Sorry, I just had to have some Coke Not. But, Jesus, I'm fairly slouched here now. You fucking wanker. Ma was dropping that cunt of a tape. Pardon my French. Oh, balls on my brain. Oh, God. Why, 1 minute now. 1 minute now. Why did that pop up now? I don't know. Things are popping up. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm going to close that soundboard anyway because it's annoying me. Am I still recording? I am. So, my story. Right. So, I went to a shop. I don't want to get anyone in trouble with this story, right? It's, I think it's funny, but the person could get in trouble for it. So, I don't want to get them in trouble, even though they did something wrong, but I don't care. Why is my phone on loud? That's very unprofessional. Oh, sleep you. But, so yeah, I thought it was funny, and I actually couldn't believe it when it happened, right? So, I brought something back to a shop, right? And I said, I don't want this anymore. No, I didn't say that. How am I even going to explain it? Anyway, fuck it. I'll explain it. I'm not going to give any locations or times or dates or nothing like that. My broadband, right? So I got my new broadband installed, fibre broadband. It's fucking unbelievable. I've never had fibre broadband because they always told me it wasn't available in my place, right? So I got that installed. And then I did mention that I was going cancelling the one that I already had because it was terrible, right? It was a little modem thing, whatever, right? So I brought that modem back to the shop. When I got to the shop, I said to the fellow working there, I said, here, do you want that? And he was like, what? And I says, no, I'm only slagging. I said, look, I want to cancel this off my plan, and I just want to keep my SIM cards. I just want to keep my SIM cards, I said, on the deal. So he misunderstood me. And what he was doing was he wanted to take the SIM card out of the yoke and give me a new SIM card, which would have been like an unlimited bill SIM card or whatever, but it would have been cheaper than the actual broadband, and it still would have worked the same way for me. So I said, no, that's not what I want to do. I said, I don't want this broadband. I want to return this and cancel it off my account. I said, I don't want the broadband. And he was like, oh, all right. Oh, okay, that's grand, so, all right. And he was after taking my number and my ID and stuff like that, so he was in my account or whatever. I said, yeah, I just want to keep the 2 SIM cards and I want to get rid of the internet. Don't want that part of it. He was like, all right, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's grand, so, yeah, no bother. I was like, is that it? Like, do you not need anything else from me? No, I'll do that. No, that'll be cancelled off. I was like, all right, okay, fair enough. So I walked off out of the shop, right? And I thought, that was fucking easy. That was grand. I just left my modem there and I left the power cable there. That's all I had. That's all it came with. I didn't have the cardboard box that it came in. And I thought they were going to be cagey about it and say, oh, you need a cardboard box to return it and blah, blah, blah. But they didn't, right? It was just the box. I was just the modem and the power cable for it. So I walked off anyway and I went into a shop to get a drink and a bar of chocolate because I felt a little bit of a headache coming on, so I thought I needed sugar. So I walked into this certain shop. I'm not going to give away too much details. I walked into this certain shop and they'd fuck all in there that I wanted, basically, right? So I was like, I'll go to this other shop and I'll get a drink and a bar of chocolate in there. So when I walked out of that first shop, I looked over at the shop where I had returned the modem to, and I saw your man walking out of there with the modem in his hand. And he also had the power cable in his other hand. So my first thought was, he's hardly looking for me. Like, I was thinking maybe something went wrong and he needed to speak to me about it, and he thought that I was after going that way because I went to a shop close by, and when I saw him walking in this direction, I thought, oh, maybe he thought that I went in that direction, so I wondered, does he need me? And then I was like, no, hardly. He has my number. He just ring me and whatever. And all these fucking thoughts, as you know, I'm an overthinker, and all these thoughts were going through my mind, right? So I was thinking, yeah, no, fuck it, hardly, whatever. And then I was like, but where is he going? And what is he doing? And I went and I got my drink and my bar of chocolate. I could see him, from the inside of this other shop. As I walked in the door, you could still see their shop from this shop. And I was like, and I went over anyway and I thought no more about it. I was like, fuck it, yeah, whatever. So I went over and I got my drink, my bar of chocolate or whatever, and I walked back out and I was going to go in one direction to get my car. And I thought, no, look, I'll head in that direction on the off chance that he might have been looking for me or that, whatever. So I kind of put it to bed in my head and thought, yeah, he's obviously going down that way because they have like a recycling bin or whatever for electronics. I thought that must be what he's doing. And I was like, maybe their bin is just a little bit away from their shop, or maybe there's somewhere that they have to go to drop return products or whatever to be recycled or whatever. So then I was like, hold on a second. Do you know what's down that way? CEX. So, or sex, as it's actually called. I looked up the name of CEX a while ago, and it's called CEX because it means Complete Electronics Exchange. I never knew that. Complete. I actually figured out the electronics exchange bit in my head beforehand, but then the complete bit I actually ChatGPT'd it, right? So I thought CEX is down that way. And I was like, yeah, but he's hardly gonna, like, I just left the shop. I was thinking, like, he's hardly just gonna watch me leave and think, right, now I'm going to go down to CEX and see, can I sell this thing? So, and then I was thinking, I'll walk that way, and if I see him coming out of CEX without it, I'll know that he's after selling it. I was thinking, can you even sell something like that? And then I was like, sure, of course you could. But I was under the impression that if I was cancelling, I had to return that because it wouldn't be my property anymore because I used it and then cancelled my subscription. So I thought, surely I'll have to return this. It's their property. I was like, surely he wouldn't fucking go down and do that. So I thought, if I see him walking out of CEX, I'll make a joke and say, hi, I want half of that now. How much did you get for it or whatever? And then as I was getting closer to CEX, I thought, no, do you know what? I'm going to look in and see what the story is and see if he's in there or whatever. And I'm actually going to say it to him and ask him what he's doing or whatever. No word of a lie. I walked to CEX. I looked in the door, and there he was standing at the counter, dealing with a fella behind the desk. Your man had the box off the modem yuck and the cable in behind the counter, and he was holding it in his hand. And the fella who I had returned it to was just standing there waiting. So I thought, what a gas, man. And I didn't get annoyed or angry or pissed off or anything like that. I was like, what a gas, man. And I was smiling walking in the door because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And so I walked in and I walked up next to him, right next to him, and like literally right next to him. And I kind of leaned forward and looked in his face and I thought, oh, did I not need to return that at all to cancel, no? And he was like, no, that's what I said. I said, what? He goes, yeah, that's what I told you. Yeah. I said, no, you didn't. And I started laughing. I goes, no, you didn't tell me that. I said, what? And he was like, I did. I was there with my colleague. I said, right. And what did you say to me? And he was going, like, you know, when you exchange or when you return something like this, what we do is, and all this. I goes, no, hold on a second. I said, I don't want to know about that. What did you say to me in the shop? He said, or I said, I asked you, were you sure because it's your property? I said, no, you didn't say that, you lunatic. You didn't say anything like that. And he was looking at me and I said, do you remember behind the counter? I said, is that on his account? And he goes, yeah. Take that off. I said, put my phone number in and put that on my account. I'll sell it to you. And your man was looking at me, the fellow who I was after returning it to. I was thinking, you gas man. And he goes, oh, well, we return it and or we trade it in here and we put the money back into the company. I said, you do? Yeah, going away out of it, you lunatic. And he kind of started walking away. And your man behind the counter goes, so do you want this back? I goes, no. Continue what you're doing. I said, take my number and put it in there and book me in because they have to book you in for a time to come back because they have to check out your product or whatever you hand them in. Be like the McDonald's CEO product. They have to check it out and make sure it's working and they give you like an appointment to come back and give you an offer. So I said, no, continue what you're doing. I said, just put in my number and give me the appointment. I said, do you mind him? And your man was like, yeah, all right, man. And just walked away off out the door. And I was thinking, you deadly man. Like, if that was a necessity for the company and they were supposed to trade it into CEX and give the money back to the company, your man would have said like, no, you can't take this. This is company policy. You can't or whatever. But he just walked away. So I know he was only bullshitting me. But like, I was thinking to myself, fair play to him for doing it because like don't knock the hustle and all that. But like have a bit of common sense about it. Like put it into a bag. Because if I saw him, because when I went in to deal with him, he was the only person in the shop. And just as I was finishing up, like cancelling my thing, another fella working there came back. So if I saw your man that I was dealing with leaving the store with a bag with the company name on the bag or whatever, I would have thought nothing of it. I would have thought that he was finished work or on his break or something like that and just leave him with a bag. Wouldn't have thought anything of it. But the fact that he walked out with the modem in his hand and the charge or the power cable in his other hand and he's just strolling casually and just heading towards CEX, I thought, that looks very strange. But like the absolute set of testicles on him to just like I was gone out of the shop about 4 minutes and he was on the way down to sell it in CEX. So I went in then and just took over the transaction. And I didn't get one bit annoyed. I didn't get one bit hyper or fucking aggressive towards him in any way or anything like that. I literally laughed. I was like, will you go way out of it? I kind of sound like, you fucking chancer. And I wonder how often he's doing that. Like, and as I say, look, I'm not mentioning the store. I'm not mentioning when this was or anything like that because I don't want him to get in trouble. If I wanted him to get in trouble, I would have rang up and made a complaint and said, oh, you returned this and blah, blah, blah. But look, I don't want the unfit to get in trouble, whatever. I just thought, I have to tell this story on here because I sent a Snapchat to a few of my friends and I was like, I don't know, should I say this on the podcast or what? Because I genuinely don't want him to get in trouble because it's all I want to me. I'm winning, like, I'm getting money for the Oak, like, and he's just kind of going, and walked away. But, like, fair play to him. And if he wants to, if this ever gets back to him, you do you, and you keep doing that if you want to keep doing that. But have a bit of common sense about it. Take the fucking thing home with you and bring it back in another day when you're not in your uniform for work. And when the person who just returned it to you isn't still very nearby. Do you know, I've just left the store, like. And yeah, do your hustle and get your few quid or whatever, but wait till the person is gone from the vicinity, like. You know what I mean? Yeah, and fair play to you. It is what it is. And I'm getting a few quid out of it, and you know, so I don't mind. And I saw the funny side of it, to be totally honest, because I was like, the fucking ball sack on this fella to be able to just do something like that while I was still so close by. I just thought it was hilarious. And yeah, fair play to him. And it is what it is, and I'm not doing anything. And I have my new broadband now, and I'm absolutely delighted with it. And this episode should shoot up onto the internet. It should absolutely boot it up onto the internet. That is the plan, and that is the hope, and I'll know very soon. And I actually got a message from Ria last week when I had my questions up, and she said, is there any chance you could put the episodes out earlier in the day on a Sunday? So, like, do you know, 11 or 12 o'clock, or even 10 o'clock in the morning, or something like that. And you know what? It's not a bad idea. And it is something that I'm going to try do. I'm going to try change it up. Now, I'm not making any promises, but I'm going to try do it for a Sunday morning for 10 or 11 o'clock or 12 maybe. Because if anyone is in home chilling out, downtime or whatever, they have a choice to throw on the episode then. Some people prefer to watch it on YouTube, and like, I'm only giving them 5 o'clock on Sunday up until whatever time to go to bed for work in the morning or whatever it might be. So if I give them the whole of Sunday as an opportunity to watch it, they might be able to watch it on that day and relax and whatever, because they might not get a chance to watch it during the week. And they might watch it on Spotify and not enjoy it as much because they want to watch it on YouTube or whatever. I know you can watch it on Spotify as well. You can watch the video, but like, you know, a lot of people listen while they're driving and stuff like that. So obviously they only have the audio. So yeah, it is something that I'm going to try do. And thanks very much for that, Ria, because it's actually a great idea. And it's not something that I thought. New section, Ria's ideas. I just thought of that when I rhymed by accident. But yeah, I am going to leave it there. And if you want to give me a follow on all the socials at Walshunit, and TikTok is Walshunit41. Please give me a 5-star rating on Spotify. Follow me on Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube. Comment on YouTube. Comment on Spotify. Put in your questions, your submissions, whatever it is, anywhere you'd like. But please just comment something on the episodes. It's good for the algorithm, and it really helps me. Episode 10 over and out. Yeah, and a lot more to come, and hopefully they'll come to you quicker. And yeah, so I'll leave it there, and thanks very much for watching, or thanks very much for listening, or whatever you did. Thanks very much for writing in, even though you didn't write in, but thanks very much for everything. Love you. Good luck. Have a good.
The unit, the unit, the unit, the unit, the unit, the unit, the unit.